Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And today we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some massive sales numbers that were posted, and not only did the Nintendo Switch continue to impress, but the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One put up some major numbers as well. Also, the Xenoblade Definitive Edition will be coming out in just a few short days on May 29th, and I hope you're really excited for that game. Unfortunately, there was some controversial news that came out on the highly anticipated Xenoblade Remake, and we will talk about that and whether or not people should actually be upset about it or not, so don't go anywhere just yet. Before we get into that though, let's go over some of the quick news first, and luckily for you Nintendo fans today, we do have plenty of Nintendo news to talk about. Let's start off with The Last of Us Part 2 though, because it was just announced by PlayStation that there will be a dedicated state of play for The Last of Us Part 2 airing this Wednesday on May 27th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time or 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This will actually be a 25-minute in-depth look at The Last of Us Part 2. So PlayStation is really going all out with this reveal. They aren't just putting out some small trailer here. It really seems like Sony is taking a page out of Nintendo's book and how they do their Nintendo Directs dedicated to one specific game, and that, in my opinion, is a good thing. We saw a similar reveal with Ghost of Tsushima, and I believe that was around 17 minutes long, but this time we will get a 25-minute look at The Last of Us Part 2. I'm personally liking this trend a lot with Sony, and honestly, I wish Xbox would do something similar with their games as well, as it really does allow you to understand what a game will be like. But something you probably should keep in mind here is that if you don't want The Last of Us Part 2 to be spoiled, it's probably best to avoid the live chat as it gets revealed. There has been a real negative air to this game ever since the big leak, so just be careful with the live chat come Wednesday. Moving on though, and I find this next one to be really exciting, especially if you like Sonic the Hedgehog. I've always liked Sonic myself, but really it seems like after Sonic Adventure 2, the Sonic franchise has been very hit and miss by Sega. Every once in a while you get a great game such as Sonic Generations or Sonic Mania, but more often than not it seems we get something like Sonic Forces. And it's just unfortunate because Sonic is one of the most beloved and recognized gaming mascots of all time. It's a franchise that just deserves better, similar to how the Mario games are treated, and according to Sega's Aaron Webber, they completely agree. In fact, the reason it has been a while since we have heard about a new 3D Sonic game is because Sega feels that some of the past Sonic games have not been what they needed to be. Because of this, they have decided to no longer rush production, but instead put more time into things as they go forward to make higher quality Sonic games. Honestly, this is probably how they should have always treated the franchise, but it's better late than never. Now, we do know that Sega has been teasing some big Sonic news for 2021, but I do wonder what they could reveal that would be so exciting. Maybe they could go back and do something like Sonic Adventure 3, and I think that would immediately grab people's attention because the Sonic Adventure franchise is among the best 3D platformers to ever exist. That would be really cool to see, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Sonic Generations 2 either, considering you get a mix of both worlds with a 2D Sonic and 3D, and really the 2D franchise has been just more consistent across the board than the 3D Sonic games. What would you like to see Sega do with Sonic though? Let me know in the comments below. In other news, Halo 3 may be heading over to PC very soon as public testing starts sometime in the first half of June. Of course, we all knew that Halo 3 would be coming over to the PC at some point, and we just got Halo 2 Anniversary on PC, I believe, May 12th, but this was a little sooner for Halo 3 than I was expecting. That's great news though, because Halo 3 is arguably the best in the franchise. I would say it's definitely between Halo 2 or 3, which were both fantastic games, though because Halo 2 did get that remake treatment, it did age better than Halo 3, but I still do think that Halo 3 holds up incredibly well today thanks to an appealing art style. It's still just so amazing to me though that Halo 3 will officially be coming to the PC platform, and truly a big thank you to Xbox here. I remember playing these games a ton back when I was in middle school and high school, and they were a big part of my life back then, and to see them under a new launch in 2020 is just so cool to see. and can bring back a ton of new players for today's generation of gamers. Moving on though, let's talk about some Nintendo stuff because some weird things have been happening. Over the weekend, the Metroid Prime Trilogy reportedly leaked for the Nintendo Switch, which got fans really excited, but I'm going to go ahead and pump the brakes on this one. So here's what happened. A Swedish retailer by the name of Inet changed a pre-order listing for the Metroid Prime Trilogy to be released on Switch June 19th, just a little over 1 month away. I'm going to say it right away though, I do not think that this is true. Nintendo has yet to officially announce a Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Switch, and even though they could do a surprise announcement similar to how they did Paper Mario Origami King, I just don't think they would release it in such a short period of time. At least the Origami King was announced 2 months ahead of time and not just 1 month. With that said though, I do think it makes sense for Nintendo to release a Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Switch ahead of Metroid Prime 4. I think that would be the smart move here, and we have heard several insiders by this point talk about a new Metroid game being released this year, which is supposedly a 2D Metroid game, and I've even heard some talk about a Metroid Prime Trilogy, but for now those are just rumors. Insiders do get things wrong sometimes, and just last week, Leaky Panda was claiming that Pikmin 3 was going to be announced last Friday, which clearly did not happen. So yeah, those are just rumors for the time being, but it does make sense and hopefully they do get announced. But as for this job listing, I would not pay much attention to it. Maybe Nintendo will surprise me and release it on June 19th, but we'll have to wait and see. And speaking of Nintendo, we got some new information on Xenoblade the Definitive Edition, and this has rubbed quite a few people the wrong way. So the performance for this game was revealed to have a dynamic resolution on the Switch and will be running at 378 to 540p on handheld mode, which is not exactly what people wanted. Most were probably hopeful for at the very least 720p, but it doesn't look like the docked mode is much better either. Instead, it has a dynamic resolution of 540 to 720p. Note that you will likely see the higher resolutions in most cases unless the game is being stressed with a lot of things on screen or just a lot of effects in general. Of course, fans are not too thrilled by the Definitive Edition struggling when it comes to performance, and I've seen a lot of people frustrated that a remaster cannot at least do 720p, and that is where I'm going to stop you, because Xenoblade the Definitive Edition is not just a simple remaster. This is a complete remake where most of the assets in this game have been changed, so it is going to be much more demanding than the original game for the Wii. With that said though, I do understand fans' frustrations, but however, I do want to remind everybody that Xenoblade 2's performance was also very similar, and that did not stop it from being a quality game. Now, I played Xenoblade 2 myself, and its visuals aren't the greatest, I'll admit, especially on handheld mode, but it's still a good game nonetheless. And that right there is the most important thing. A good game will still be a good game, even if the resolution isn't perfect. Sure, I would have liked better resolution myself, but I'm still excited for this game. I also should say that both in handheld and docked mode, Xenoblade Definitive Edition will run at 30 frames per second. I will ask you though, what do you think about the dynamic resolution in this game? Let me know in the comments below. On to the next topic though, and that's some stellar sales numbers across the entire industry. Honestly, we are living in a weird time right now and a lot of people are stuck at home, but one thing that has helped people through these unprecedented times is gaming. There are tons of people escaping to games right now, and it shows the power of gaming. So the NPD numbers for the month of April was posted, which of course shows the sales figures in North America, and Final Fantasy VII Remake was the big winner here in terms of software. Not only was it the best-selling game of April, but it has immediately become the third best-selling game for the entire year, behind Animal Crossing and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Final Fantasy VII Remake also broke a record for the franchise and becomes the biggest launch in history for any Final Fantasy game. That is fantastic news, and frankly, it's well deserved. I loved the remake myself and how much they expanded on all of the characters, and it's just a phenomenal game. But what's crazy about all of this is that technically, Final Fantasy VII Remake will have another launch next year when it comes over to the PC and more than likely Xbox Series X once the timed exclusive deal for the PlayStation ends. This game is just going to continue to post insane numbers, and to think, this is just part 1 or 15% of the original game, so we are going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake for the foreseeable future. Now, as for the consoles, the Nintendo Switch sold 808,000, the PlayStation 4 sold 411,000, and the Xbox One at 329,000 units sold. Each one of these are very impressive, and I will explain why. The Switch is actually the fastest selling console in history as of this moment. That means it's outpacing everything, including the PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo Wii. Now, the Wii didn't go as long as the PlayStation 2 as it was much more front-loaded, and casual gamers were jumping all over the Wii, but my main question is how well will the Switch stack up compared to the PlayStation 2 and the Wii when all is said and done? I'm very curious to how good of legs the Switch will have, but the Switch is truly insane, and I've said this before, but it's well deserved. It may actually go down as my favorite Nintendo console of all time. I love the hybrid design of the Switch, and most importantly, Nintendo is knocking it out of the park when it comes to software. Games like Smash Bros. Ultimate, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and really the list just goes on and on. But yeah, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One also posted very impressive numbers, and in fact, both are at a record high for the month of April. That means that this was the best-selling month for each individual console, and again, this goes back to what I said before. This goes to show you the power of gaming. People are buying these consoles in a time of history that we will remember forever. A lot of people are spending this time right now playing games, and that's pretty cool to think about. So a big congrats to all Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo for a fantastic month of gaming. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Peace out.